you to come on. And good morning, Facebook and YouTube Live. This is Couples Academy Live, and we're with you for another great morning. Hopefully, you all are starting your day, right? We're about 11 o'clock, so I'm sure you're right in the thick of your day. So today we have a great topic for you. We're talking about how to establish law and order in your marriage. Usually when we hear the terms law and order, we're thinking government, we're thinking, the police force and the military and establishing rule and law in a society. And when you don't have government, you have anarchy. Well, oftentimes people can experience anarchy in their household. We say this all the time. One of the keys to a successful relationship is having government in that home. Government are comprised of laws. Laws are there for the safety and the protection of its citizens. If you have no laws, you have lawlessness.
Yes.
If you have lawlessness, you have anarchy. And when you have anarchy, that means that anything goes. And a lot of us are in relationships where anything goes. There's no coming together of establishing what will work for this particular relationship. And then months go by, years go by, and we're pulling our hair out and we're ready to call it quits and throw in the towel and let it go because we don't have those fundamental building blocks in a relationship. So we want to talk to you today about the balance between love and law.
Right.
Because you need both to make a relationship work. Hey guys, good to see you on Instagram.
Everybody.
We're waving back at you. But these are the things that you need to do. My brother Dondre says, yup, you need the balance between the two. If you're all love and no law, then that means that you have lawless love. If you're all law and no love, you have loveless law. And that never works in a relationship. And typically what we find is that each partner leans in a particular way. There's certain of you that are full of law. You're very legalistic. It's about this. You dot every I, you cross every T. We put this plan together. We got to stick to the plan. And everything becomes so regimented and everything becomes so legalistic and everything is about a plan and a strategy and implementation. And it's just like, well, what happened to the connection and the relationship and love and everything else between us?
Right. We grew up in these homes that teach us all of that. Some of us grew up in complete lawlessness in our homes. Anything goes, do what you want, when you want. And then we get into marriages with someone else who may not have grown up that way, maybe had, curfews and regulations. And this is the day on Saturday we do this and on Monday we do that. And so what a major conflict that would pose inside of a family as it relates to like how you're raising your kids and just how you're doing everything that you do. And I think the big issue here is that we have to learn that as we get into these relationships and learn our spouse's personality styles, we need to do a lot of adjusting. We can't just come in a relationship and this is the way that I am. I've always been this way and stay this way. It doesn't work out.
It doesn't.
So even though you're going to have certain personality styles that are who you are and you're bred that way, like I'm more the loving person in this house. I'm loving, I'm caring, I'm kumbaya, I'm go with the flow kind of a person, right? I do have to own in certain instances, it requires some sternness. It requires some seriousness. We can't just go with the flow as it relates to everything, even though in a perfect world we would. So,
if only the world were perfect.
So ultimately what we need in these relationships is balance. And we need to come into an understanding about who it is that we're married to so that we can partner in our skills, because we both have different skills, and bring those to the table. And then you'll have some harmony.
And we've talked about this time and time again. Compatibility isn't being just like your partner. Compatibility is recognizing the differences, celebrating them, and figuring out how it works in the relationship. And so if I'm more law, Danielle's more love, well, if we look through our own lens, that's going to create a problem because it becomes a tug of war.
Why aren't you loving today? You're so non-loving. What's wrong?
Not that I'm non-loving. I lean law.
No, he's very loving.
She leans love. Are you like, you know what? Nobody can believe nothing what you're saying.
They know we love each other. They know, right?
Here's the reality, folks. If I'm all law, she's all love, and we are fully in who we are, well, we'll see the other person's personality as a problem.
Yes.
You need to be tougher.
Right.
Well, you need to have more love.
That's
How
true.
about we have the balance of the two because we need it? It's almost like if you're driving in a car, right? You have a gas pedal, you have a brake. If you just had gas, well, eventually you're going to crash because there's nothing slowing you down.
Yeah.
If you just had a brake, guess what? You'll never move forward because there's nothing pushing you forward. So you need both in order to take this journey. You need to start and stop. Likewise, you need the balance of love and law in the relationship. Now, here's the key. If I'm all law and she's all love, there's a problem. I need to develop the love within me. She needs to develop the law within her. So both of these natures are operating within us individually, because when she's leaning love, my love can now tap into her lean. When I'm leaning law, her law can tap into my law, which allows us to come together and be in, exactly. And that's how you get into agreement.
Yeah.
That's how you get into agreement. When you remain stuck, see, conflict is nothing more than two opposing forces or ideas operating in the same place at the same time. And so you never come together and can never move forward. So there's got to be some type of connection between the two of us. And that's when we tap into each other's natures. That way we can now establish a government that works for our household.
Yes. Hey, good morning, everyone. Let's acknowledge some folks. Hey, Nigel, good to see you. Cutie Pie, that's an interesting name. Hey there. Hey, Kathy, good morning. Rhea, thank you guys for joining us. I see you, Reynard. Thank you. Vashan, hey, good morning to you from Chicago. Hey to everybody.
Kiara, good morning.
I think
Marcus on Instagram.
Hey, everybody on Instagram. Listen here. My thing is this. A lot of times Hassani and I talk about different dynamics under this roof, and there are certain areas that he is just stronger at, and there are certain areas that I'm just stronger at. And so part of it is knowing how to release things to your partner. Like, I don't have to get into the details of everything. If we've had a conversation and we come to an agreement on something, and I know that Hassani is more better suited to handle it, I'm going to let him handle it, and he can handle it with law. Some things require law and the structure and all of that, and I'm going to send Hassani to do that. The other stuff that require me to move and in my language, he releases me to do that. And so that doesn't alleviate you from having to learn to meet in the middle. It's just that as a couple, you are one. So sometimes you are dispatching each other to do things in their language and in their gifting.
That's so critically important, because to your point, that allows you to move forward. I mean, let's talk finances, right? So let's just say someone is more law when it comes to the budget. The other one is more love. The law person says, we got a budget. We got to pay these bills. We don't have room for any other expenditures for things that aren't important that sustain this household. Well, the one who's love says, listen, let's play. Let's have some fun. Like, can I buy something? Can I enjoy myself? Well, that creates a tug of war. Well, in the budget of your finances, there should be both personalities, love and law. So you're working towards your future, but you're also living in the present. And that way you both win.
There's so much more to what you said that just hit me, just thinking about that, the idea of all of our different personality styles, something simple like what you just said, somebody who is like just law, and just add a personality style to that. Somebody who might have a minimalist personality style. So not only are they the law one and they want to be strict, okay, we have to plan for the future. It's all about the future, and you're putting coins away, and that's all. You're not even living for today, because there are certain personality styles that don't and have this minimalist lifestyle, and you're married to someone who is a very much present, live in the now, experience people, connecting person who wants to experience life, who wants to actually smell the roses along the way. These are the things that cause conflict. This is why you guys need to have these discussions to understand. First of all, learn your personality style and learn your spouses so that you know who it is that you're talking to. Once you know who you're talking to, then you can start to maneuver different with each other to accommodate each other's needs. Because if all my needs are being met right here under my roof, if I can go to Hassani and I can find understanding through him, and I can connect with him, and he's concerned about my heart and my needs, and vice versa, I'm not as keen to go and look for it elsewhere. A lot of times people make the mistake of thinking that they could step outside their marriage to get answers and needs met, and they think that they're finding a friend, or they think that they're finding somebody who's going to patch up this area, and that's when we get into these uncomfortable, inappropriate relationships that lead to more. What we're talking about is setting up boundaries within your marriage where you're both accommodated and you don't have these needs.
That's right. because that need needs to be met by your partner.
It should be
and
met
when
by
there's
your
a
partner.
temptation for you to go elsewhere to solve a problem that you feel can't be resolved in your relationship,
you start looking.
Oh, you start looking.
And I don't think everybody starts looking to cheat. I think people just start looking. They have an emptiness. They haven't been complimented for a while. So the person at the job always says, you look nice and smell nice today. Thank you. And it starts from right there. So I'm just saying, going back to the subject at hand, law in your home, I think it's important for us to make sure we know who it is that we're dealing with, so that that person doesn't feel like they're in a prison, like they're in a cage just being married to the spouse.
Yeah.
There has to be that connecting and meeting of the needs.
And I just want to emphasize that you need both within you, because God is both. Now, if we're created in the image and likeness of God, well, who is God? God is love and God is law.
That's
He's
right.
both.
All at once.
So you can't be one of the two. You have to be both. And when you both operate in the balanced nature of God, that's when this thing works.
Yeah.
And I think that there are deficits in areas of our lives that we have yet to develop and yet to improve, which are causing problems. And so that's why when we say bring God into your marriage, for a lot of people, it sounds like a great idea and conceptually it makes sense, but they don't know what that means in a practical sense. Yeah. But this is what we're talking about. And these are the things that will lay the proper foundation as you move forward.
Yes.
I think we have a couple comments, Danielle. Read that.
Rudy says, just want to thank you guys for your wonderful ministry. My husband and I are learning so much. We appreciate you. From Botswana, thank you so much.
Love it.
Hey, Angie, good morning to you as well. Kiera, yes, stay in your lane in love. Okay. So, and I agree, stay in your lane and allow the loving person to step in when it's necessary. But the other person needs to have some kind of empathy and understanding and connection to it, because if not, they won't be in agreement with you. So you have to come into agreement on this, whether you're the law one or the lawless, not lawless, but loving one.
Sometimes you can feel
sometimes it's lawless. Yeah. You still have to be in agreement, because if you're not in agreement, you will have a problem with how the other person moves.
But Kiara, let me challenge you a little bit, because you said stay in your lane. I would suggest that it's a 3-lane highway. When you think about a highway with 3 lanes, you have the left lane, the right lane, and the middle lane. Well, if you're in a marriage, Danielle is in, let's just say, the right lane. I'm in the left lane because we're our own individuals, but we come together in our marriage and we're both in this middle lane. So there's a journey we're taking together, and then we're our own individual selves. And so as we get into that middle lane and take that journey together, I can't stay stuck in my way and justify it, because that's just who I am. That's how I was raised. That's what my mama taught me. These are the lessons that I learned. That's how we remain stuck. And you've got to get unstuck and merge and move into the middle. A marriage is a fusion of opposite components coming together as one. So once again, we say, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave unto his wife, and the two shall become one. That oneness factor that we've been talking about is what it's all about.
Very good. Very good.
So these are the things we need to do. Let's see what else is up here. Angela, I think we saw that already. All right. Rhea, what if it's a one-way street?
Whoa.
Okay. I don't know exactly what that means.
That means the way that I interpret it, based on what you said, that means that there's no other person and there's no God. So the first thing that I would do is make it a 2-lane highway by including God into the conversation. Now you got the 2-lane, and from there you could go anywhere you want to go.
Yeah, you got to bring God back in. That's critically important. And once again, that requires relationship, not religion. There's a difference. Relationship means I'm spending time with you. I'm praying. I'm understanding your word. I'm figuring out practically how to incorporate it into my life so a difference can be made.
Yes, unity. Thank you for that, Renard. So yeah, these are the things that we like when we come up with these subjects. We're always talking about, what we could do to improve in our home. And so we're curious, what are some of the issues in your home? Where do you need to be seeking improvement? Because for us, not just because this is what we do, but we're always looking for, okay, where's the dark corners? Let's sweep out the dark corners and bring some light to this. Let's improve on this area, because it's hard to maintain balance at all times in every area. When you start to notice things going to the left, that's when you got to pull it back together. So we want to hear from you guys. What are some of the issues that you're dealing with, so that we could bring those subjects to light and help bring solutions. So if you have those, okay, we got some people coming through. What do you got?
Challenge accepted.
Oh, which one from yesterday?
Oh, about being in a 3-lane highway.
Oh, yes.
It's a 3-lane highway. And I think if you go to your spouse and have that conversation, listen, I'm me, you're you, but we have to meet in the middle because it's a journey we're taking together. Otherwise, you become two individuals in a household who go halvesies on everything. We go half on kids, we go half on bills, we go half on life. I got my friends, you got your friends. I got my stuff, you got your stuff. We'll come together when we need to come together, but we just two individuals floating in this thing called marriage.
I know so many couples.
Too many couples that are like that.
Yeah, and actually, it's almost to the point where people don't even recognize it as a problem anymore because they came into the relationship like that, living their own way, and they actually did everything that they could to maintain that independence and autonomy, even though they're married. And I think that what happens is it doesn't hit you that this is broken until a lot further down the road where it's so established. And to tear that foundation down and to start something new is really difficult for people. But you do get to the point where you recognize, like, I don't even know my partner. We don't even share what we're doing anymore. I don't know what's going on in their bank accounts. I don't know what we're doing this weekend. Like, there's no connection. You're just living two different lifestyles. And that's been a major problem for a lot of couples.
You got a Dutch marriage, straight up and down. It's a Dutch marriage. Yeah. You understand the concept? Oh, when you're dating somebody, oh, are we going Dutch? Like, who's paying? Oh, we going Dutch. You pay for your meal, I'm going to pay for my meal. And in today's society, it seems like that's becoming the norm. But when you take that mentality into your marriage and you live a Dutch life in your marriage, then I'm going to tell you something, even financially, not that this is about money, but if you have the mentality, that's my money and that's your money. These are my bills. Those are your bills. This is my debt. That's your debt. It is very, very difficult for you as a couple to ever accomplish financial goals. Like, if you don't come together and determine a goal, and every single couple, maybe you're different, but we counsel a lot of people from around the world, and everybody has a financial situation. For some, it's not enough money. For others, it's about, well, I make more than he or she makes, and that's a problem. For others, we got all the money we want, but we're not together. We're separate in terms of what we prioritize. And for the individuals who operate independent of their partner, they're the ones who realize we could be so much further ahead if we came together and had a sense of unity when it comes to our goals. But if you live life Dutch and separate, you cannot do that. When you're playing on the same team, you have different roles and different functions, but there's a shared goal. Like, if we want the championship, if we're trying to win, then we have to come together. We have to marshal our forces and make something happen. But when you live separate, that can't happen.
Yes, we is one. We is one. I love that too. That's going to be our new slogan.
We
Watch.
Is one.
Y'all are going to see us have t-shirts on that say we is one. Challenge accepted as well. We got a lot of challenges being accepted, so we need to have a real good challenge that we put up there. Hey, Cynthia, that is so good. So yes, guys, it's about coming together and experiencing oneness in your home. We say it all the time. It's not going to change when it comes to every facet of your life. You need to come into some type of agreement and oneness. And that doesn't mean that you lose yourself. That doesn't mean you have to lose all of your independence. It's really about transparency. If I know what's going on with Sonny, I don't have to necessarily be 100% a part of it. My heart and mind is a part of it. My agreement is a part of it. And so I'm good with that. But when we're so secretive, when we're so separate and so apart, and, just to ask a question to find out more about our spouse brings on frustration and aggravation, that is where that's a warning sign that there is some trouble in paradise.
So, folks, remember, you need love, you need law, because God is both. That's the fullness of God, the love of God, the law of God. And so whatever your leaning may be, if you're the one who leans law and the other one leans love, or vice versa, understand that you need both in the marriage, in the household, for things to work. But don't get too comfortable in who you are. Allow that other side to begin to develop. So if I'm mostly law, let me develop the love. If I'm mostly love, let me develop the law. Because once we have both natures, now we can come together and start having conversations that make sense. We're not in conflict. It's not an adversarial back and forth, tit for tat, tug of war type of struggle. We find commonality because we're on the same page and we ultimately want the same thing. And then we win as a marriage, we win as a household, and we have government that keeps the marriage intact. So hopefully this was helpful. We want you to share this on your page, share this in your groups, share this to your community, because so many people need to hear this. If we had more of this in our households, listen, if we have government in our homes, I think we would be in a much better place. So if you need help, we want you to go to the website, couplesacademy.org, set up a 15-minute discovery call. Many of you have been reaching out because you realize that you can't do this alone. And so we want to take the time to appreciate you. You see the number scrolling at the bottom. You can also reach out and text us. We want to be there to help you in your time of need. Couples Academy, we're committed to your marital restoration and recovery. We believe that you can be on the path to fulfillment. If you're not on that path, get on that path and live the life that you always wanted to live but never knew how. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Now, remember, tomorrow, that's the day when you can ask your questions. So whatever your questions are, get them in your mind now. As soon as we press go, as soon as we go live, we want you dropping those questions in the chat so we can address them and give it the appropriate time. Love you guys, and we will see you in the AM. All right.